Oh my god. If you want to see how I got into this mess, stay tuned. So you don't really need much for this. I've got a mixing bowl, some PVA glue, some bicarb soda, and some contact lens or eye wash solution. And apparently the important thing with this is that it has boric acid in, and you can buy the acid just by itself, but a lot of us will have this lying around at home, so you might already have it to hand and not need to purchase an extra thing. And optional, but I've got some gel food colouring to go into my slime. You can also add glitter or sort of crunchy beads and things like that, but I'm trying to keep this simple because this is the first time that I've ever attempted to make slime. So how hard can it be? So the recipe that I've looked up does have exact amounts, but I don't really want to get all my measuring spoons and things covered in glue, so I'm pretty much going to eyeball it and hope that it turns out okay. So apparently we need about 100 mils of PVA glue. I can always add more or less of things at the end if it doesn't turn out the consistency that I like. And I think the other benefit is that nothing here is toxic or anything like that, so kids could help you and you don't have to be too worried if they end up putting something in their mouths that they shouldn't. I'm gonna hope that's enough. And then the next thing we add is the bicarb of soda. So it says half a teaspoon, so not very much of this at all. I'm going to try and mix it at each stage, so I'm going to mix the bicarb in now. It's already foaming up quite a lot, so the bicarb's definitely working its magic. I know that you can add things like shaving foam and stuff like that as well if you want like a foamier slime. But as I said, this is my first ever time trying it, so I just wanted to stick with the basics. Add a few drops of this gel food colouring. See how far that gets us. And it'll be a lot easier to tell how well this is mixed in now because we have to wait until it's all sort of one colour of blue. I mean, you could make sort of several different colours of slime and either mix them together or sort of braid them together so that you get like rainbow slimes. I've seen so many different things, and people like having a themed slime. So the last thing to go in is that contact lens fluid or eye wash that should have boric acid in, and I'm only going to add a teeny bit to start with, and then I'm waiting for this to go from sort of liquid to stringy. So just add a few drops to begin with. And I'll probably have to change to mixing my hands at some point as well. I don't know if this coffee stirrer is going to be around much longer, but I'll try and keep my hands clean as long as possible. So I think it's stringier, but I think I need to add a little bit more. It did say, I think, between 1 and 3. It's either teaspoons or tablespoons. I'll put the recipe up on screen and I'll also include it in the description below, but I'm pretty sure it's 1 to 3 teaspoons of this contact lens solution. It'll probably depend on which contact lens solution you use, or if you just use the boric acid if you want to get it for the sole purpose of slime making. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's getting like stringier and stringier. And eventually it should come together in a slime ball that sort of doesn't leave residue around the edge of the bowl, and you can pick up and play with like you can with the normal shop bought slimes. So we'll see how close we get to that. It's my first turn, so maybe I won't get it the first try, but it's certainly looking promising. So I think I probably started with way too much PVA glue because I didn't weigh it out. So don't be like me and do weigh it out or measure it out because it was in milliliters. So I'm just going to keep adding a little bit more of the bicarb and a little bit more of the contact lens solution. It is starting to come together, so I think I'm getting there, but I just think that my ratios were off because I had way too much glue. So I'm just going to add a little bit more bicarb. Stir that in and then keep adding contact lens solution. I'm gonna attempt to sort of mix it with my hand just to see if it feels like it's going together. Like every time I stir it, it seems to be a little bit harder, but it just doesn't feel like it's changing that much. So I'm gonna try and mix it with my hand just because I feel like I get a better feel for it. So here we go. It does feel just like a really wet slime at the moment. So I think I'm just gonna throw a bit more of everything in there and see if it comes together. So I do feel like I can mix it better with my hand, and after adding a bit more stuff, it is kind of forming a thicker gloop, which I guess is basically what slime is. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep mixing it, keep adding more if this doesn't. I know that you do need to knead it a little bit for it to come together. So I don't know if you can hear this, but it makes a really sloppy noise while I'm mixing it. I think it is coming together. I think I just need to have a little bit more patience. So I've probably been mixing another 2 or 3 minutes and adding more and more contact lens solution, and as you can see now it is pretty much slime. I think I just need to mix it better, so I'm going to mix it for another 1 or 2 minutes and hopefully it will stay sort of as a ball. But as you can see, it's way thicker now, so I think I'm almost there. So it ended up going a bit, I don't know a better way of describing it than like runny scrambled eggs. So what I've done is taken the solids out of that. So I think all this liquid is probably just me putting too much contact lens cleaner in, and when really what I probably should have done is just kept mixing it. But the solids, we have ended up with slime, so I'm going to count it as a win. I'm going to let this dry off a little bit, just probably put it on some paper towel or in its own pot so that it can drain off a little bit, but it's not leaving any residue on my hands and it's staying together. It's a pretty soft slime, but yeah, I'm happy for a first attempt, and it's definitely something that you can do with your kids just to keep them entertained, and you probably have everything you need besides the boric acid, which I keep calling boric acid, but I think if you buy it, it's just borax, and I think you can just buy that for slime making, and it will probably be a bit more fail-safe than using the contact lens fluid, because I do have quite a lot of liquid in the bottom of this now that just kind of appeared. So yeah, I'm gonna go drain this off and then I'll show you the very end result. So I've dried it off considerably, you can probably still tell it's quite shiny and a little bit damp, and it does leave some liquid on your hands, but it doesn't leave anything else there. So I think what happened is that I was just too impatient and I kept adding the contact lens cleaner when it probably already had enough borax in it. If I can do it, it's proof that you could also just guesstimate it and keep adding it until you end up with something usable. It doesn't really pull apart too well. If you do it slowly, it does have the nice sort of slime pull apart, and if you just hold it, it does sort of drip down. So I like it. I quite like the colour. I did add a little bit more blue to it while I was mixing, because it got a little bit pale. So I think if I keep playing with it, it will dry out a little bit, and then it should be the perfect consistency. And then if I keep it in an airtight container, it should last a little while. But it didn't really cost much to make. It's just some PVA glue, some bicarb, and some contact lens cleaner. You don't need to add the colour, you could just have a white slime. So it's pretty affordable, it's pretty quick. It only took, I want to say, probably like 15 minutes, and that was because I had no experience with it at all. I'm sure on my second attempt I could do it a bit quicker. Mixing it with my hands definitely felt better than mixing it with the coffee stirrer. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Please leave your helpful tips and tricks in the comments below. Try to be kind, this was my first time trying it out, and yeah, I hope this inspires you to give it a go and let me know what you create. So see you next time.